Folks, back on the Bossman show, in front of the show, Emory Hunt, footballgameplan.com, CBS Sports, Sportsline, doing big things, my brother. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, man. As always, I appreciate you having me on.
Anytime, brother. Well, man, let's start off with the Falcons here, man. News is saying we got to hire Arthur Smith to be our head coach, with Terry Fontenot's the GM. So, looking at the Falcons cap situation, our roster, do we really fit what Arthur does best, or do you feel like we'll have to really go to a retooling or rebuilding to get the Falcons back on track here going forward in the NFC South there?
You know, it's a unique question because, I think a lot of people always ask, does this coach fit this scheme, and does the players, does the personnel fit the coach, and does the coach fit the personnel? But I think it's kind of, that's why you hire a coach. You hire him for the way he was able to take what, let's say, Tennessee had and make it work for him. And so you expect him to take what Atlanta has and make it work for them. And so it's not necessarily about certain plays that he runs or, certain groupings that he has. It's about finding what guys do well and being able to help them maximize their talent. Now, the biggest key for him is going to be how he builds that staff, and what will he be able to give up play calling. Because as a coach, if you're trying to do both, it can be a little bit stressful for you. Yeah. And we've seen guys struggle in that capacity. If he truly wants to be the CEO of this football team and put guys in position to be successful, then that's, to me, that's the way you should go. But if he's going to call plays, I think he'll be fine and making do with what he has. And, Fontenot is probably the biggest hire of them all, because he's the one that's going to be putting the groceries in the cart and allowing, the head coach to make things happen with the players that he's going to give them.
Emory, I'm looking at the dots here. I'm thinking this means in 2021 or 2 that Julio Jones and Matt Ryan probably won't be here anymore based on the cap issues we have with Deion Jones as well. A lot of our cap is kind of tied up in our top of our roster. So a lot of you got to get younger and cheaper here. So I'm feeling like giving Fontenot a good 5-year deal, hopefully Smith a 5-year deal, so he can actually retool this thing around, because we know that the Matt Ryan Julio Jones era is coming to an end. If it's not next year, it's the year out in 2022 is definitely over.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why it's probably a unique spot for Atlanta to be in, picking in the top 5 to probably take a quarterback. If they find someone that they deem to be a quote unquote franchise worthy guy, it would make sense to grab him now. And therefore you can groom him for, when he takes over for Matt Ryan, whenever that may be, whether it's, next, not this upcoming season, but 2022, maybe that's when you give him the full reins. Kind of like what Green Bay is doing with Jordan Love. You always want to have your ace in the hole already, as opposed to going out and getting one when you need one, because you may be good the previous year. You may not be taking one that high. So if they're seeming to see someone, if they find someone that they deem ready to be a franchise guy where they are in the draft, whoever that player may be, they have to take them.
And I look at our roster offensively, Emory, I see that Julio Jones is still there, but look at Ridley with practically Julio's place. We got Zacchaeus who's coming up and coming kid, Christian Blake as well, Gage as well. So I feel like receiver-wise, if Julio moves on in 2022, we got some guys in the pipeline that will be able to step in and step up. And Hurst, tight end, and replace Austin Hooper, a very good player as well.
Well, see, that's the thing. Julio Jones is a bona fide number 1. And unless Ridley can prove that he could be a bona fide number 1, he's running sidecar right now with Julio. So even if you lose Julio, you still are going to need someone that's going to be considered a bona fide number 1 if it's not Ridley. Or if you can find out that Ridley is that guy, then you also still want to have someone that you can see to be a code number 1. Because right now, Zacchaeus is a good guy, good player, good versatile player. You mentioned Gage as well. You talked about the tight end position. I think tight ends, that position is set with Hurst, but I think you're still going to need another stud at wide receiver if you plan on moving on from Julio.
And let's talk about the playoff game this weekend. First one, Buffalo and Baltimore there, man. I love this game. I feel like Josh Allen is number 3 behind Lamar and kind of running quarterbacks in my mind. And I feel like it's going to be the quarterback's legs who make the difference in this game here in Buffalo. I feel like, Allen can make plays in the pocket with his arm, so can Jackson as well. So what thoughts of this game, and how Wink Martindale, he's going to blitz Josh Allen, or is he going to play coverage and force him to go a little long route rather than giving those easy one-on-ones on the outside. Let Josh do his thing. Even if you have a free blitzer, Emory, usually he can still make plays and keep you one less man in coverage and still burn you.
Well, see, that's the unique part about Baltimore, and that's why I think it's a bad matchup for Buffalo, because you look at the fact that one, they can apply pressure, which is always giving any quarterback problems. But in combination with that, on the outside, you have Marlon Humphrey and also Marcus Peters, two man coverage guys that can match up against wide receivers. So it makes throwing those hot routes against those press corners a little bit tougher. So it's going to be up to Buffalo to find creative ways to generate offense. Maybe go to more condensed sets to try to loosen up that coverage and try to get those guys to communicate while running through rub routes and pick routes. So we'll see. But that's why I like Baltimore in that game, because just the matchup from a defensive perspective, and also on the offensive side, they do well what Buffalo doesn't do well, and that's stop the run.
Most definitely, because you saw this week in Tennessee, shut down Derrick Henry. I mean, pretty much had 5-man fronts, had 9 guys in that box. Darren Tannehill to beat him one-on-one, and this time Baltimore stopped him up real good as well. And offensively, Gus Edwards and Dobbins, those guys, man, are running the ball like crazy. And then you got guys like Brown getting balls. Andrews, of course, out there for Lamar. And so I feel like the Ravens got hot after that Pittsburgh debacle when they played on Wednesday. They got past that, man. They've been on a run ever since then.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at the fact that this is a team that has played Buffalo before, and Buffalo could say the same thing. I thought Buffalo the first time, I thought they contained Lamar pretty well in their meeting last year. So we'll see what adjustments can be made. But with the weather being what it's going to be, and again, snow, rain, yeah, it can affect each opponent. But you want to see how Buffalo stops the run and how they're able to supersede that pressure they're going to see from Baltimore.
The Emory going to Green Bay and the Rams. Jared Goff coming off that thumb injury, played good in Seattle, got the win up for those guys. But I like the defenses, man. I feel like Donald can wreak havoc on the Packers, but you have Ramsey to kind of take out Adams. So that means Scantling, Tunney, and those guys, and Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams have to really produce, because Ramsey's gonna go with Devontae, but Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. He can get him on a down. Even his coverage still open for Aaron Rodgers. So other matchup, I feel like the Rams defense is gonna have to win this game for the Rams, because I don't trust Goff in the offense right now for the Rams, because as we know, McVay's run his outside zone schemes, 11 personnel. We know what's going to be for the most part, right? So I feel like it's all about the Rams defense to win this game for those guys. They're going to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Rams defense is the matchup here. They have an elite defensive tackle, elite corner, a borderline elite safety in John Johnson III. Williams on the other corner has proven to be a ball hawk. So they got some dudes in the secondary to match up against those spread sets. Can they stop the run is going to be the key. And we know Donald is a disruptive player up front within the run game, as well as what he can do as rushing the passer. So what can Green Bay offense do? And on the other side of the ball, can their defense take advantage of opportunities? Because we talked about condensed sets earlier. You look at what the Rams do. That's how they live. That's how they operate. That outside zone play coming off that, wide receivers running across the field, going every which way. But they do have some good communicators on the back end with Jaire Alexander. Darnell Savage, I think, is going to be a huge X factor in this game. And so as much as we talk about the Rams defense being key, I think the Packers defense will be key as well, because if they can get pressure, they have guys on the back end, just like the Rams do, that can take the ball away.
Most definitely, and I look forward to seeing how Mike Pettin does it against McVay, because excuse me, sorry, as LaFleur came from the McVay tree, so it's pretty much the same offense you see in practice every day when you're playing Sean McVay, when you're going against LaFleur in practice every day.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to be the biggest matchup. It's more coaching, but at the end of the day, you do have the best quarterback on your team if you're Matt LaFleur, and that's Aaron Rodgers.
Most definitely. Let's go to KC and Cleveland. Now, Emory, this is the question I have for you, man. If you're the Browns, do you play ball control with Kareem Hunt and Chubb and kill the clock and limit Mahomes' possessions, or do you go for it and be a gunslinger and get a shootout with those guys? Because Baker has been playing well, man. He's been on fire. Stefanski surprised me with how good he's been this year because I thought his offense in Minnesota was kind of wasn't that good in my opinion. But this year I saw him develop as a play caller. What he's doing with Hollywood Higgins, those guys, Jarvis, losing Odell, man, they still getting. My guy Hooper from the Falcons now with the Browns. I see what they're doing, but Mahomes is amazing. And the Reed with 2 weeks off is amazing. Being me and those guys. So if Spads can hit you with some blitzes, in KC can stop the run when they want to and beat you in coverage as well. So it's gonna be an interesting game. But so for instance, Cleveland, do you ball control it or do you go for it?
I think you have to play your game. And right now their game is ball control and play action and boots and waggles with Baker Mayfield. They have to be able to go out there and do what got them there. And that's, the run game, that's their play action passing, that's opportunistic defense. You hope that their defense is healthier now than it was last week against Pittsburgh with guys coming back off COVID. Their defensive line can be active. They have Myles Garrett there, matching him up against whoever tackle is going to be the matchup they're going to try to exploit. And if guys on the back end can, keep their eyes on their luggage and not get caught looking in the backfield and allowing Mahomes to attack deep down the field, that's going to be the biggest key. But I think this will be a closer game than people think because of what you talked about as far as the Browns playing their game and what they are able to do really well, run the football. That kind of yields itself to being a very close game.
Yeah, and I love Kansas City, one of those transcontinentals with Hill and Watkins. I mean, I love their deep passing game. Is that transcontinental around over the whole field, man? It's amazing to watch on film all 22, man. I love seeing the way Andy Reid and Bieniemy draws up plays because they're so interesting to watch. It reminds me of, as you know, playing college football as well. We played ball back in the day, man.
Right, exactly. And it's, when you have the amount of playmakers that they have, you talk about elite talents. It's not like, a bona fide number one and everybody else is really threes and fours. You talk about Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Those are guys that are elite at their position and they're game breakers. And, you add the fact that Mahomes is a game breaker. That's just tough for any defense. Normally you have one good corner and, two other corners that are solid, but Kansas City forces you to have three good corners. Otherwise, it could be a problem.
Most definitely. Last one of the week, man, is the NFC South battle with Breeze and Brady again, man. New Orleans has handled Tampa both times this year. I do feel like Tampa is getting into a groove now, but I feel like, Sean Payton knows Arians what he wants to do. And I feel like Dennis Allen has a plan for that. Now, they're having Antonio Brown more involved now with him out there more and more, get him in more nickel there. But I still feel like in the Superdome, it's Drew Brees' birthday week. Today's his birthday. I feel like, the Saints are going to get the job done. It's based on scheme-wise and how, I feel like New Orleans has a date with Green Bay coming up in a week or so there.
Well, the Saints were the last team to beat an opponent 3 times in one season, and he did it in 2017 when he beat the Panthers twice in the regular season and in the NFC wildcard playoffs. So they have a good opportunity to do so here. It's going to be up to the adjustments because we saw what happened in the second game. It was turnovers that really got the Bucs beat, and got out of hand pretty quickly. If they can protect the football in conjunction with, Antonio Brown now being more involved in the offense, it could pose a problem for that New Orleans secondary. But New Orleans defense is really good. And, I think their defense being able to apply pressure, being able to match up on the perimeter, and offensively, while they may not be dynamic, they are efficient and effective. I think that could do a number on, we talked about ball control. That's their way to win in this ball game. I think that's going to be what has to happen in order for them to win because, again, when you give an offense like Tampa Bay that has found its rhythm throwing the football deep down the field, it could pose a problem if you're giving them more swings at bat. So you have to minimize that by taking control of that football and making sure when you have the ball, you maximize it by scoring either a field goal or if you're able to get it in for a touchdown.
I'm thinking with emerging of Deontay Harris on offense now, with Traquan Smith, also with Michael Thomas and Kamara and Cook, maybe spread them out because Todd Bowles can't blitz as much if you have five empty sets out there, so you only have 6 men to blitz with if you're gonna do it. So do you feel like maybe playing that way with zero coverage, spreading them out so they have to play kind of maybe 2 man under or play a quarters rather than come at you with all his exotic blitzes he wants to do with you all the time, and then those A gaps there.
Well, it depends because when you're gonna if you're gonna spread somebody out, you got to identify the threat that can beat you. And right now, if we're being completely honest, the Saints don't have anyone that can beat you deep. You know, the explosive one, most explosive one is Deontay Harris, and they have him in the slot. You don't fear, Thomas going over top. You don't fear Sanders going over the top. So if you're going to spread the Bucks out, you're really challenging their defense. You're saying, okay, we're going to challenge you to make tackles consistently in space. And judging by the personnel of the New Orleans Saints, the Bucks would be much obliged to make that happen because who's going to beat them deep? The one person that does have the ability to make you miss or be explosive is Harris, but you trust that your guys can make plays consistently one-on-one in space. I think that's something that the Saints shouldn't do, is try to spread the field because that just almost uh, it almost like enhances their weakness or highlights their weaknesses at that position. As far as explosiveness is concerned, those guys can catch the football. Don't get me wrong, but they don't have that guy that really threatens you deep down the field.
Aaron, what are your thoughts on the hiring of Robert Saleh with the Jets, defensive coach there? Does that, in your mind, mean that Sam Darnold stays, or they maybe still go Fields and bring in Mike LaFleur from San Francisco as well to be his OC there with Saleh and the Jets there up your way?
Well, it depends. That's a $1 million question, right? If they want to know, to me, you've seen 3 years of Sam Darnold. And the one thing you can say about him is that he's inconsistent. The other thing you say he hasn't been able to play a full season. So he's injury prone. I hate to use that term, but it is what it is. And I know you can't control mono, but you miss games. And so I think they have to move on at that position. Now, does that mean taking Justin Fields? Does that mean probably taking one of these free agent quarterbacks, a veteran guy? Maybe that means, okay, maybe they have 2 first-round picks, I believe. So they can probably grab a quarterback if they see one and then, maybe move Darnold, what have you. But I do think there's a lot of options. And Darnold right now, he had an opportunity to really play himself back into that role by the last stretch of the season, and he still played inconsistent. And that's just been the book on him since he's been their starting quarterback.
And we got another hire in Urban Meyer coming to Jacksonville down the way from here in Duval County. I'm worried about that hire, Emory, because it's a splash hire, but he's retired twice due to stress in Florida and in Ohio State. And the NFL is a whole nother animal for stress. So, what are your thoughts on him being there long term, and why you win the press conference today? But will he be there for you in 4 years when hopefully you'll be good and competing with Trevor Lawrence and those guys in the AFC South there?
Well, I love the hire. I think because he's, more of a CEO type, and he understands. He said in his presser today that the most important thing is to hire elite staff. That's first and foremost. You want to hire future head coaches at their position, and he understands that. And everywhere he's been, Utah, Bowling Green, Florida, Ohio State, he's turned them into winners. And so that's something that you can say and hang your hat on that, hey, he's going to go down there and develop a winning program. And he understands that, he doesn't have to be the play caller. We get so enamored with guys. Did he call plays? Is he the play caller? All coaches can call plays. All coaches understand offense and defense and putting guys in position. But can you be able to lead, delegate and plan things out and have a set mission and philosophy in place? That's Urban Meyer's MO. Plus, he has the 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, all that cap space. And the Jaguars are not a bad football team from a talent perspective. The cupboard is not bare there in Jacksonville. So I think he's going to hit the ground running pretty quickly.
You think Deshaun Watson is this on? We think he'll be in Houston next year. I think a chance he may leave based on his upsetness with the Calvin there and Casario and Easterby. What are your thoughts on the whole Texans drama right now?
It was hard to get a gauge on emotional, takes, right? And so what's happening right now is all emotion. Once the emotion sets and realism sets in and people get clearer heads and not emotional ones, then we could probably better gauge on what's going to happen. But as of right now, I can't even give you a definitive answer because it's just such an emotional time right now to say one way or the other.
That's one for you. It's about a guy from here in Atlanta, Cam Newton. He had a weird year in New England this year. The arm kind of looked kind of shaky, if you ask me. He can still run the ball. What's your see for his future going forward? I know we'll probably won't be in New England. Probably most not likely he'll be moving on, but per report. So what's also on Cam Newton, his future as a quarterback in the league?
Yeah, it's unfortunate because you're right. This year his arm just didn't look right, and it's unfortunate to see a guy that really had just a rocket arm, really succumb to those injuries with his shoulder. And the run game is a run game, but what made Cam great is the fact that he was a dual threat. And if you take away one option, whether it was his running or his passing, he's not Cam anymore. And so right now his arm, his shoulder is, and the way he throws just doesn't look comfortable. So you're right. Maybe his days as a starter is over, but he's going to be on a roster because we've seen this year how many teams had to go through multiple quarterbacks, and Cam Newton is still Cam Newton at one dimension. But you just wish that he was able to have the magic that he had in 2018 before he got injured with that shoulder, and we hadn't really seen that same Cam Newton since.
No doubt. With Emory, thank you for your time, brother. It's always good to talk to you, my guy, man. You're always insightful, man. Always good to chat with another brother who loves the game like I do, brother.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks again for having me on, man. It's good to see you. Good to talk shop with you, man. And I wish you the best of luck. I know it's the 14th or what have you, but Happy New Year as well.
Yes, same to you, brother. Hey, and stay safe, man. This COVID thing is crazy out here in the streets, man.
Absolutely. Mask up, man.
No doubt. Hey, Emory. Good to see you, brother. Thank you as always.